Hi guys, this is another one of my unplanned thought videos. Just suddenly decided I wanted to discuss something with you guys. Let's get somewhere safe. Let's get somewhere safe where we won't get attacked and we can concentrate on just chatting. This seems reasonable. Right. I want to continue talking about the subject from yesterday's video. Now, yesterday's video was how I feel they've oversimplified the accuracy system for VATs. And it all comes down to the fact that they've removed the skill system. They've removed the skill system, and now the only thing that matters, apart from the weapons condition, is your perception. Somebody else pointed out there are some perks that will increase your VATs in some circumstances, which is true. But as a general rule, if you crank your perception up, you'll be a grand shot with every single weapon, whether it's knuckle dusters or a rocket launcher. You'll be a grand shot with it. If you've got low perception, you'll be a terrible shot with it. It's pretty damn simple when compared to the old skill system. Now, as a counterpoint to that, I actually think Bethesda did a good job in some other areas, and one such area is science. In Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, science controlled so many different things. Not only was it for speech checks that required scientific knowledge or quest checks that required scientific knowledge, it dictated how good you were with chemicals. As a nuclear physicist, it dictated your hacking skill. In fact, hacking was probably the primary reason people took science. This, of course, made it a little... Well, one of the things I keep going on about is this feeling of differentiation, where you can have one character feel very different to the next. And of course, with something like science in Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, everyone ended up taking science because they wanted to hack computers, but that means every single character you have is a bit of a boffin. In Fallout 4, that is not the case. You can become an expert hacker without becoming the reincarnation of Carl Sagan. You don't need to become a nuclear physicist. You don't need to be a science boffin. I mean, my character in New Vegas, Jack, would probably be a chemist, for obvious reasons, and a hacker. But he's got no real interest in science as a general rule, and certainly not nuclear physics. And in Fallout 4, he's actually got that option, and I love that. And I even love the fact that they've changed, say, small guns, big guns, energy weapons, and all the different weapon skills to rifleman, commando, gunslinger, demolitions man, heavy gunner, and so on. I actually think those are more appropriate. I think a minigun has more in common with a the Gatling laser than it does a pistol. Whereas in Fallout New Vegas, miniguns and pistols were the same skill. It's I think it's nice that you've got separate skills for these type of weapons: pistols, a handheld weapon, automatics, and so on. So I kind of like the idea they went for there. I just don't like the fact that these particular perks have no effect on your accuracy. So here's what I think they should have done, and what I would actually like to see a mod maker create, and I think they probably will. I mean, the original Fallout character system and the one that was brought back for Fallout New Vegas was specials, skills, traits, and perks. Traits are just like perks that you get when you start. You get 2 of them, and they have a positive and a negative. Someone will almost certainly bring traits back. I can guarantee that's going to be a mod. Traits will be a mod, guaranteed, and that will make a return. What I would also like to see is something that brings back skills. So how could they do that? Well, my thought on this is just rip out anything that was a skill before or looks like it should have been a skill before. Big leagues, rifleman, iron fist, gunslinger, all of these weapon skills. The science skills that are just pure knowledge-based things like hacker, science, chemist. I mean, keep these as skills and keep them separate. I love them being separate. Maybe even have robotics expert as a skill rather than perks. Anything that looks like it would be a mundane ordinary thing, and I use that word to be quite broad, actually. You know, nuclear physics is not mundane, but it's something you could learn at school, then, you know, have it as a skill. Leave the perks for those strange things like gun fu, which is weird, or ricochet, four-leaf clover. These odd, very Fallout-esque type perks that are a little different, that you can't get a skill in ricochet. It's very much a perk. Bloody mess is definitely the same thing. Better criticals, you know, leave those as perks. The sort of things that were perks before, leave them as perks. So rip out a load of this stuff and move it to a second page, a new page called skills. Now, you don't have to change the skill system to the 0 to 100 system it used to be. You could even leave it as ranks, because that's probably easier for a mod maker to do. You just separate the perks, as it were, into two sections. One that appears on the skill table and one that appears on this, the perk table, and the game probably still recognises it the same way. I would also like to see some changes to the way some perks work. So, for example, accuracy and VATS. I would like to see accuracy and VATS be affected by your gunslinger ability. I actually think if each rank of gunslinger adds 20% to your ability to aim in VATS, still have perception make a difference. Perception should affect your accuracy, but not as much as your skill. 5 ranks in Rifleman should give you a bigger boost to your accuracy than 10 points in Perception. This would obviously mean a complete rebalance. The amount of aim you get from Perception would be reduced, but then you get aim from these particular skills. This would mean you could have a character who was an excellent shot with a gun, with a pistol, but not a good shot with a minigun. And you could have a character with high perception who is slightly better shot than a non-perceptive person, even in weapons he's not proficient at, but he's still never going to compete with somebody who's highly proficient in that one weapon. So that's what I would do with those skills as well. I would expand upon those. So that's the basic principle. 2 different pages, one for perks, one for skills. The question then comes, how the hell do you improve them, and, you know, how do you balance it? Because, of course, you only take 1 perk per level. Is that going to be the same? You can put a perk here in the perk chart or in the skill chart. I would like to see some way of actually increasing the skills separately from the perks. That is where a percentage-based skill system would have the advantage. You have something like 12 points to spend on your skills, and you can move them up and down, and that's probably going to mean, for example, you could increase your gunslinger skill by 12%, and that wouldn't be as good as a full perk in 1 rank. So that's the disadvantage of using ranks. Ranks have fairly large steps up. One way around that would be to increase the number of ranks a perk has. So Gunslinger might have 20 ranks, each rank giving you 5% boost to that particular skill. Every time you level up, you get 3 perk skill points to spend, which means you can increase one of your weapons by 15%, or 3 weapons by 5%, or any of the skills by 5%. And you get 1 perk point to spend here as before. Now, I'm not saying that's balanced either. It probably requires a lot more thought to get everything balanced, but that's what I would be thinking. This would, of course, leave lots of holes in the perk chart, because I've ripped stuff out. Put back a lot of the perks that seem to be missing. For example, the cowboy perk. Why not have the cowboy perk in perception or endurance or wherever? The cowboy perk is a perk that gives you a slight boost to damage and accuracy on combat knives. What was it? It was hatchets, wasn't it? Was it hatchets? Hatchets, revolvers, and lever action weapons. Have some of the other perks that have disappeared, have them reappear in here. So, because I actually love the perk chart. I really do like the way they've set this perk chart out. I think it's really nice and really, it's easy to navigate. It's easy to see what you want to aim for. So keep this, but add some new perks. Add a new page just for skills. And, oh yeah, bring back traits, of course. Bring back traits. That's my idea. I realise I'm just rambling around now. I think that would take the system they've got now, move it back towards the system they had in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, give you far more control of your character, but actually improve it. I think that would be better than Fallout New Vegas, better than Fallout 3, because you've got expanded skills like nuclear physicist, chemist, hacker, and the like. So I actually think it would be better. Now, the counter argument is going to be, well, they simplified it, and I see this all the time. They simplified it because they're trying to appeal to a more mainstream audience who can't handle the complexity of... And I think that's absolute bovine manure. Because there is nothing complex about the system I've described. There's nothing complex about the Fallout system. And if you're going to say, well, for some of the console gamers, shut up. Console gamers are no different to PC gamers. They're not stupid. They can handle a character system. And I never heard anybody who played Fallout 3 on a console go, well, I would have enjoyed the game, but oh my God, the character build system is too complicated. Never heard it. I really do not think there were people... in the E3 queuing going, God, I'm really looking forward to Fallout 4. I'm really looking forward to it. But my God, I hope they've ripped the skill system out because that's really intimidating. There wasn't. There was a lot of hype for Fallout 4 based upon what we saw in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. And I suspect absolutely every single person who was hyped for it was perfectly fine with the bloody character system as it was. So taking it back to a slightly more complicated system will not scare people away. It will not reduce the mainstream appeal, and it will not mean it's not appealing to a wider audience. All the excuses people come up for why Bethesda did this, why they may have done this, just don't wash with me. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing complicated about the Fallout character system. There's nothing inherently stupid about console gamers. There isn't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a member of the PC Master Race, but it's absolute arrogance to think console gamers can't handle a slightly more complicated system. So I see no reason why a modder can't make this, and why Bethesda shouldn't pay attention and make sure they fix this for Fallout 5. Oh, and for God's sake, Bethesda, for the Elder Scrolls 6, if somebody has suggested removing the skills and replacing them with pure perks, punch that person in the face for me. No, don't do that. That's horrible. But look at them like you're going to punch them in the face for a brief second and make them nervous. Thank you.